Hello, guys. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Championship Prediction League. I'm delighted to be joined by Gab Sutton, EFL expert, as we preview a little mini midweek round of fixtures, Gab, as some teams try and make up ground. Talking of making up ground, we all did pretty terribly, actually, for our weekend predictions. I'm afraid I only got 4 points. Ollie got 3 points. You got 5 points, mate. All in all, pretty awful. We had Ipswich to win, who didn't win. We thought Watford would win. They didn't win. Basically, a nightmare from all of us. But we're going to try and do better as we jump into these 4 Tuesday night fixtures, starting with a bit of a tough one at the bottom, Gab, and Blackburn, Sheffield Wednesday. Would you say this is must win for Blackburn for their survival hopes?
I think tend to use the word must win more like in April or May. But I think, yes, I think it's the kind of game where you can't afford to not take 6 points off Sheff Wednesday with how bad they've been this season. So it's a huge opportunity for Blackburn Ravers. Excuse me, got a bit of a cough.
No worries.
But I think they have to. I think they have to maximise that opportunity. Find themselves on the wrong side of fine margins again against Hull City. It's been quite a familiar theme for Ravers because they've been creating probably more chances than their goal return would suggest so far, and that's been a frustration. They look like they can create chances, but they've struggled to accumulate the points to show for it. But I do back them to win here. But I'm going to go with a 1-0 to Blackburn Ravers.
Yeah, I'm thinking something along similar lines. This is obviously, and we'll say this about all the teams we're talking about for this midweek little set of fixtures, a game in hand, which is just massively important for their standing in the table. If they win this, they're level on points with West Brom in 21st. It just feels absolutely massive for them to actually get the job done and get 3 points. I also think Sheffield Wednesday struggle with 3-game weeks. Unfortunately, they've got another one here. Yeah, I think I'm going to match you there, mate, actually, and go for a 1-0 Blackburn win, because I don't trust them to score many goals at all. 26 they've scored in 29 games this season. Ollie's also sent his scores over, and he's gone for a 2-0 Blackburn win on this occasion, which brings us on to a very big game for third place, Hull City. They've got 5 home games in a row coming up, starting with Watford, who, since we bigged them up, Gab, have absolutely fallen off a cliff, haven't they?
Yes. I think what's interesting with Watford is Javi Gracia. This hasn't been confirmed officially by the club, but it looks like he's resigned as head coach, and Charlie Daniels is going to be taking interim charge for this trip to Hull City. I think with Watford,
Can I just jump in there? Thanks for breaking that news to me, because I didn't have, oh my word, I didn't have a clue that had happened. And in fact, the club have confirmed it now, 20 minutes ago, as the time of recording. He's resigned. That is bonkers.
Yes.
Take it from me.
Yeah, and I think probably the criticism of Javi Gracia, I mean, it feels interesting because there was a lot of criticism of Javi Gracia around November time, and then they went on that brilliant run where they only lost 1 in 13 games and won quite a few of those as well. And there were lots of people who had criticised him who said, hold my hands up, I was wrong. And then four games later, they're calling for his head again. So it's been a bit up and down, but I think the criticism would be he's gone back to the 4-4-2. And that's probably not the formation that suits Watford, because if you think of what a 4-4-2 requires, you think of a Mick McCarthy team almost, don't you, with industrious wide men and 2 up top. Whereas I think if we look at what the squad suits, it's those attacking players, it's wingers given lots of freedom, it's a number 10, whether that's Fatadze or somebody else, and you want 3 players who are given that kind of freedom or that license to rotate and interchange behind one centre forward, because they haven't got an amazing striker, I wouldn't say. Whereas I think that the USP of the squad is those 3 attacking midfield spots. So that's what I would expect under Charlie Daniels, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's a response to that. Having said that, Hull got another victory at Blackburn last weekend. So I'm going to go with a draw this one. I'm going to go high scoring. I think it's going to be 2-2.
Yeah, Charlie Daniels, Dan Gosling and Adrian Mariappa in charge of the team for Hull on Tuesday night, which sounds like every Football Manager save I think I've ever played. I've been big on Hull recently, and I suppose the Gracia sacking does change my thinking slightly in the fact that I think they were trending downwards, and I think in the statement he says he couldn't quite get the best out of this exciting attacking team. I'd gone for a 2-0 Hull win initially, but I will give Watford a goal. I'll go for a 2-1 Hull win because I just believe the Tigers are on to something pretty special this season, Gab, and I think they can really push towards that top two and maybe even sneak into it over the next couple of weeks. Portsmouth, Ipswich disappointingly dropping points at home to Preston, rescuing a draw really with that late penalty. Portsmouth, what a gargantuan win it was for them this weekend, 3-0 over West Brom. Can they follow it up with another big win at Fratton Park here and take themselves further away from the relegation zone? What do we think?
Yeah, I think Portsmouth do seem to have that Fortress Fratton factor back. I think their performance against Southampton in the derby was a big catalyst, especially in the second half, for what they went on to do against West Bromwich Albion. And I think the fresh athleticism in the team has brought a new lease of life to the side with Ibu Adams and Milan Jali. And they played some really incisive one-touch football that carved West Brom open at will at times. And so they are going to be a threat for Ipswich. I dare say they'd have rather go to Fratton Park earlier in the season where they maybe weren't quite as reliable at home like we saw from them last season. Having said that, I do, Ipswich do have that sort of reliability. I can see why I think Ollie, our co-host, has gone with a draw. I don't know whether you're thinking on similar lines, Simon. I can see where you go with that. For me, just based on the depth that Ipswich have, I'm going to back them to sneak a 2-1. But I can see Portsmouth giving them a tough game and maybe bloody their nose.
You can read me like a book, Gab. I'm completely on the fence. I've gone for a 1-1 draw. I think with my fingers crossed that Ipswich are going to continue to drop points as we get deep into this promotion.
Yeah, you need a bit of fortune from other results, don't you, Simon, at the moment?
Can every single team lose games in the top six at the end of the season? Really help Coventry out. Yeah, I'm going for a 1-1, mate. I think that was such a big win for Portsmouth in terms of confidence, momentum. We've talked loads of times about the Fratton Park factor. I think it can be enough. Massive win for John Messina. And we finish our little midweek preview with Sheffield United versus Oxford. I'll kick us off by saying Ollie Man from Sheffield United Way has gone for a 3-1 Sheffield United win. Oxford first defeat under Matt Bloomfield as well at home to Birmingham. Good win away at Birmingham. Well done, Gab. Bet you enjoyed that one. Along the same lines, reckon United home win here?
I'm going to give you a bit of trivia. I think Ollie Man would be proud of me for this. Oxford United was the game that got at home was the game that got Chris Wilder's tenure up and running, because they'd had an awful start to his season in League One where they'd taken 1 point from their first 4 games back in 16-17, and the come from behind victory against Oxford was the day where they had some overlapping centre backs and people were starting to think, oh, this could work actually, and then they went on a run and got a massive points return, and the rest is history. So that fixture holds a lot of symbolism for Sheffield United, and they'll be hoping that it can carry similar weight here. Oxford definitely look like they're made of more solid stuff under Matt Bloomfield and Mike Dodds, with just 1 defeat in their first 4 games in charge. But I think with Sheffield United, the fact that it's at Bramall Lane, I'm going to back the Blades to sneak it. I've not gone for any upsets, so I've gone a little bit boring this midweek, but I'm going to go with a 1-0 Sheffield United victory.
Yeah, none of us have gone in for any bonus points. It's 3 points, remember, for a correct score, 1 point for a correct result, and 5 points for a correct score where there's 5 goals or more. But none of us have gone for 5 goals or more in this little midweek set of fixtures. I have gone for a 3-0 Sheffield United win, which is maybe quite bold. I just think if they get an early goal, they can, pick them off, take advantage of them, even though I have been relatively impressed with the work Bloomfield has done against Oxford. Right, Gab, thank you very much. Nice short episode for us today. Thanks for joining me. Please do make sure you like and subscribe. Get your thoughts in the comments down below, as always. Myself and Gab are on the Sportsman Untitled together again this week, so stay tuned for that on Monday, but we'll be back later in the week with more Championship content.